I think investing will become more attractive. It'll become more necessary. I think everything that we're seeing with AI, and even if you believe in these scenarios where you'll have large-scale labor force disruption, job loss in some sectors, you kind of saw a preview of what that looked like in 2020 at the beginning of COVID. And what happened was lots more people started investing in the markets. So I think that's a durable effect. And I think that if I had to guess, investing will be a much bigger portion of every individual's life 10 years from now than it is today.
Here's what I'm thinking is that 10 years from now, we're going to have 24/7 trading where I could go online or on Robinhood and trade at 2:00 in the morning. And I want to see shares prices go all the time.
Well, you basically already have that. I mean, we have 24-hour market,
right,
except on Saturdays and early part of Sundays.
Exactly.
So,
but so I want more of that throughout everywhere. And then I also want it so that I could send individual shares from one person to another. So if I want to give Jack 1 share of Robinhood, I'm able to transfer it like I would a Venmo. And then lastly is I think no one has been able to truly get real estate in such a way that you could like swipe up and buy something or cut out all the middlemen involved in real estate or somehow securitize a property. And every platform that I've seen, I would never put my money in these things. But I think there's a way where you could turn a house into some sort of like a swipe up or co-ownership with people.
That third one I'm very interested in.
Yeah.
So it's a big opportunity.
I want to see a place where if real estate continues going at the same pace, that I could own a house with like 3 other people equally in a way that just works online. I don't know how that would work logistically, but I think that's the direction things are at least heading.
Yeah, and real estate's a big market. So it's a big potential. And if you look at high net worth individual, 10% of your portfolio is real estate. So yeah, I think that's one that I care about.
What are your plans to get into real estate?
Well, we have mortgages now through a partnership with Sage Home Loans, and I think that's been a good use case. Proves to us that our customers care about home ownership. They care about real estate, both in terms of like buying a home themselves, but also they think about it as an investment. So I think we'd get into it in 2 ways, and I'll speak to it generally. I think there's one viewpoint where it's an investment, and it's part of a diversified portfolio, and I think over time, as with any investment that's a part of your portfolio, we'll want to have access to the highest quality assets and make them available to retail. The other thing is there are certain investments, and people think about them as investments, but they're like physical things that people own. I mean, like watches is a good example. A lot of people invest in watches, they collect them. You invest in art, but maybe you don't really want 1/64th of a painting. You actually want to take custody of your art and hang it up on your house. Or you invest in classic cars, right? I mean, classic car market, collectibles market has been a very active market. And I think we'll want to open up access to that too, because there's a whole realm of investments that you think of as investments, but you want to hold it in your hand. I think we're starting to explore that a little bit in our banking product and with the credit card. Right now, you can redeem your rewards points into physical gold bars. And that's actually a very attractive offering to people, believe it or not. And of course, you can buy gold ETFs and get exposure, but there's something about holding a piece of gold in your hand and putting it in your safe that people really, really love. They like to touch and look at their investments. So we'll get into that as well in a bigger way.
But for mortgages, why not do that yourself? Why not do everything in-house?
Yeah, I mean, there's different parts of a mortgage, right? There's the servicing and the user experience, which actually means, selling you the mortgage, communicating the value of it, doing the billing, and putting it in your budget.
Right.
And I think that's integral to the customer experience in many ways. So I think over time you'll see us get deeper and deeper there, and we'll probably own the customer experience and the servicing. Then there's the actual loan itself, giving someone the money and taking that risk. And I just think like that's more of a utility product. There's thousands of banks and different types of lenders in the US that would be willing to compete for the actual economics of that. And I just think we might do some of it in the future, but Robinhood is less differentiated in
Why
providing the utility loan service.
but why not then allow other users to fund loans?
I
Like
mean,
peer-to-peer lending of some sorts.
that's been tried before for sure. I mean, Lending Club
Yes.
started with that model. And I think what they find over time is the peer-to-peer aspect becomes a little bit more of a gimmick. And the people that are like driving the volume tend to be sort of like institutional lenders and
Hmm.
players that have large amounts of money. Um, I think individuals are less interested in these types of loans as as sort of like investment opportunities. I mean, we don't hear them uh, being in high demand. They'd prefer to invest in other things. But if it changes and suddenly we have all these assets and we want to give customers the option to back invest in loans or fund them, the philosophy is like go where customers are demanding, and if they want that type of selection, we'd certainly consider it.
And what about with tokenization and the future of that?
So tokenization is very interesting. I think it's the biggest innovation in capital markets in well over a decade. And there's two ways to think about it. One is um, for outside the US, I think tokenization will be the best and simplest mechanism to get exposure to US stocks and other assets. So, in the same way that stablecoin has become the best way to get access to US dollars if you're outside the US, uh, tokenization of equities will be the best mechanism to get exposure to US equities and other assets outside the US. So, it'll become the best platform for US stocks. It'll become sort of a global unified platform where you can invest in stocks. Inside the US, you get 24/7 trading, you get instant settlement, you get a lot of back office improvements to how a company like Robinhood can operate that lead to lower costs, which eventually will be passed on to consumers in different ways. And you also get the capability to take any asset, no matter how illiquid or scarce, uh, to be tradable 24/7, just like a stock or crypto asset. And so I think the biggest opportunity in the US would be tokenizing private companies and actually making them tradable real time, just like public stocks, and making them understandable, easy to use, liquid. So yeah, we're excited about that, and we've built the technology. We have a working tokenization of U.S. equities in the form of stock tokens is live in the EU right
Yeah.
now, uh, and you saw we demonstrated tokenization with private companies as well with the
Yeah.
SpaceX and
What's
OpenAI
what's the
tokens.
risk of that? Is there a risk that the tokenization price just goes up so high that it's worth fundamentally way more than the underlying company?
Yeah, there's certainly that risk for privates. Um, And, in some places for publics where it's completely untethered from the real market, there's that risk as well. But for our stock tokens in the EU, uh, the two are tethered. So right now, we call it phase one of our stock tokens offering. Every trade actually is backed by a one-for-one
Hmm.
trade that happens in the traditional market. So if you buy, for example, an Apple token in the EU, we'll go out and actually buy a real share and then mint the token. So then you're getting a good price because it's the price that's available on the best of the exchanges. Now the downside is there's no 24/7. But what'll happen in phase two when we list the tokens on Bitstamp is you'll basically get the best of both worlds. If the traditional markets are open, you'll get the best price available on the traditional markets. If it's better than the price on the secondary token markets, and if the traditional markets are closed, you'll be able to trade. So I think that's how
Yeah.
the problem will be solved.
Who thinks of these ideas? Is this you or is it a team? Now, really quick, every business is asking themselves the same question. How do we make AI work for us? The possibilities are limitless, but guessing is too risky, and sitting on the sidelines is not an option because one thing is certain. If you're not doing it, your competitors are already making their move.
And that's where our sponsor NetSuite by Oracle comes in. It's the #1 AI cloud ERP, trusted by over 43,000 businesses to manage everything from financials and inventory to commerce, HR, and CRM, all in one unified system.
When all of your data is in one place, your AI becomes a lot smarter. It doesn't just guess. It knows. NetSuite intelligently automates routine tasks, delivers real-time insights, and helps you make fast, confident decisions that actually help drive growth.
And it's not just an add-on, it's AI that's literally built right into the system that runs your business, helping you cut costs, improve accuracy, and stay ahead of the competition.
Whether your company is making millions or even hundreds of millions, NetSuite gives you visibility and control to keep moving forward. Honestly, if I were building a business of this size, NetSuite's the only company that I have 100% confidence in.
So if your revenues are at least in the 7 figures, get our completely free business guide, Demystifying AI, at netsuite.com/clips.
Again, the guide is free for you at netsuite.com/clips, netsuite.com/clips, with the link down below in the description. Who thinks of these ideas? Is this you or is it a team?
Well, we have an amazing crypto team. A lot of great engineers. Johan, who's the GM of our crypto business, started off as an engineer here. So the team is very, very good. And back in the depths of the crypto winter, I think it was 2022, when we were talking about tokenization, we actually said, you guys remember DeFi summer in 2020?
Mm-mm.
So this was like when DeFi became popular, and it was the kickstart of the crypto bull run in end of 2020 and 2021. So they called it DeFi summer, and it kicked off the broader resurgence of the crypto market around that time. So we said to ourselves, okay, what would it take to actually get out of this bear market and get a new crypto bull market? And wouldn't it be cool if Robinhood actually instigated that? So we called the project Robinhood Summer internally. And then, I think it's early. It's a little bit early to tell, but like tokenization is definitely becoming a bigger thing. I wrote a opinion piece in the Washington Post, and gosh, the number of questions I got about that opinion piece and the number of our competitors that suddenly made tokenization a top business priority after that was staggering. So I do think the next crypto summer will be by and large driven by real world assets tokenized on blockchains. I think you're starting to see that with the stable coins too.
Yeah.
Stable coins like a tokenization primitive.
Yeah.
What about the increase in prominence of AI? How do you expect that to affect the overall stock market? Do you think that a few companies are going to be massive winners, or do you think that the broad access to AI is going to lift a lot of the smaller companies that now can do things at a low cost? Like the big companies used to use economies of scale. Now everyone has access to AI, which just decreases the cost of labor and production.
I think thus far, what seems to be happening in public markets is the gains seem to be accruing to a relatively small portion of companies. Mag 7, the companies that are leaders in AI are
Those
definitely
are like the
getting
data centers ones, though. You right? Typically the ones that own the centers themselves.
Yeah, I mean, you have the infrastructure layer for sure, and also the chip makers, NVIDIA. I mean, all these companies that are training models are by and large doing it on NVIDIA chips. Now NVIDIA is the world's most valuable company. But yeah, it's still, I'm sure you guys have looked at this chart. If you look at the S&P 500 and compare the returns of Mag 7 over the past year to everyone else, it's like Mag 7 is huge. Mm-hmm. Everyone else is kind of flat, which indicates to me that there's sort of like a centralizing effect to this. Now, I don't know if that's going to be indefinite. I would think as the AI tools get better, you'll have more. My prediction over the long run is you'll have more single person companies. Like one individual will be able to use AI as a huge accelerant to starting a business. And in the same way that, if you wanted to start a software company in the 90s, you'd have to like manage your own data center. But, AWS came along, the cloud software providers came along, and suddenly you no longer need those 50 people to like buy servers and rack and stack if you want to start an internet company. I think you can think of AI as fulfilling a lot of these specialized functions that you would have had to spend a lot of your time thinking about. Um, and then, if Robinhood gets in and you have something close to capital as a service where you can press a button and get money in your bank account for starting your venture, I think we'll have a lot more companies.